So here's a story for you. Imagine a massive, influential, cultural organization from India that swears it doesn't spend a single rupee on lobbying in the United States. Now, at the same time, picture official U.S. government records that show that very same group as a high-paying client of a top D.C. lobbying firm. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on this whole mystery. A tale of power, money, and some very clever, plausible deniability surrounding the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, or the RSS.
Okay, let's just jump right into the heart of the puzzle. On one side, you have the official RSS spokesperson saying, crystal clear, that the organization has not engaged any lobbying firm in the United States. Period. But then you look at official U.S. government filings, and they explicitly name the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh as the client. I mean, one of these things is not like the other, right? So what is actually going on here?
To figure this out, we're going to follow the breadcrumbs. First, we'll lay out that core contradiction. Then, we'll follow the paper trail, the money. After that, we'll get into the really slick legal strategy that makes all this possible, explore why they'd even do this, and finally, we'll try to uncover where the funds are likely coming from. Let's dig in.
So first things first, let's break down these two completely different identities of the RSS. You've got the public image it projects to the world, and then you've got the name that pops up in these very official U.S. regulatory documents. This right here is the official story. The RSS presents itself as a cultural organization based in India. It's not registered, it's tax-exempt, and it says its funding comes from voluntary offerings by its members, something called Guru Dakshina. The message couldn't be clearer. We are a domestic cultural group. End of story.
But then you have this, and the American documents are just as direct. We're not talking about whispers or some unconfirmed report here. This is an undeniable public record filed directly with the U.S. Senate. It's right there in black and white. The lobbying firm put down RSS as its client. So the question is, how can both of these things possibly be true at the same time?
All right, let's pivot from the contradiction to the cold, hard evidence. What do these documents actually reveal about the size and shape of this entire operation? You know what they say, follow the money. And in this case, the trail leads to a pretty hefty sum. We're talking about $330,000. And that's not for a whole year. That's just for the first 9 months of 2025. This isn't some small-time consulting contract. This is a serious financial commitment to making friends and influencing people in Washington.
And here's where it gets really interesting. The payment wasn't a straight shot. The money was funneled through an intermediary firm called OnePlus Strategies. Now, this is a really crucial detail. It creates a buffer, right? A layer of separation that gives the RSS in India plausible deniability. They can say, we never sent money, even while their interests are being pushed in D.C.
Okay, so you're probably asking, how is any of this legal? How can you deny you're lobbying when there are documents proving it? Well, it all boils down to a very smart, very strategic choice between two different American laws that deal with foreign influence.
And this table just lays out the legal genius of it perfectly. On one side, you have the Foreign Agents Registration Act, FARA. This is for people representing foreign governments or political parties. It's run by the Department of Justice, and it comes with this heavy, kind of loaded label of being a foreign agent. But then you have the Lobbying Disclosure Act, or LDA. It's for lobbyists who represent foreign associations, a much softer, vaguer term that just so happens to fit the RSS's "we're just a cultural organization" story to a T.
And you can see this exact strategy playing out in the wild. The Overseas Friends of the BJP, which is directly tied to India's ruling political party, they had to register under that strict FARA law, no way around it. But by framing itself as a cultural association, the SRS lobbying effort was able to use the much less intense LDA path. It is a really calculated move to sidestep that foreign agent tag and keep up that non-political image in Washington.
This all leads to the million-dollar question. Well, in this case, the $330,000 question. Why even spend all this money on lobbying? The answer isn't about some specific bill they're trying to pass. It's about playing a much bigger, much higher stakes game over their international reputation.
It's because of stuff like this. This is the kind of really damaging statement from U.S. government bodies that this lobbying is designed to push back against. When reports like this one from the USCIRF come out, they create real geopolitical headaches for India. So the goal of the lobbying is to get in front of that narrative, to manage it, and to talk directly to the policymakers who read these reports.
And if you look at the stated goals in the filings, it confirms this. It's not about a trade deal or some technical legislation. It's all about big picture stuff, shaping the narrative, building relationships with senators and representatives, and making sure that American officials hear their side of the story on these sensitive human rights issues.
So we know why they're lobbying and the legal loophole they're using to do it, but that still leaves one last really big piece of the puzzle. Who is actually paying the bill for this very expensive operation?
But moving that kind of cash from a non-registered entity in India would be really tricky. So the most likely explanation is something we can call the conduit hypothesis, and it involves a whole network of US-based charitable organizations.
The setup is actually kind of brilliant. Step 1, people in the US make tax-deductible donations to affiliated charities. Step 2, that money gets funneled from the charities to that intermediary firm we talked about. And finally, Step 3, the intermediary pays the lobbyist. This system is amazing, really. It uses tax-exempt American charity money to fund what is essentially political work, and it does it while keeping the original source of the funds hidden and giving everyone deniability.
And this isn't just a wild guess. There's a huge, well-funded ecosystem of legally registered U.S. charities that are ideologically aligned. Groups like the HSS, the VHPA, and SOA International, they handle millions of dollars right here in the United States. That provides a ready-made liquid pool of U.S. cash that can be used for exactly these kinds of strategic plays.
So what's the big takeaway here? This whole RSS lobbying mystery isn't just some political drama. It's a perfect case study in how powerful non-state groups can use complex legal and financial structures to play the game of global politics. It's basically a masterclass in finding and using regulatory loopholes. And it leaves us with one final pretty provocative thought. In this new era of global politics, where the line between a cultural organization and a political actor is so deliberately blurred, where on earth does accountability really lie?